Hey guys, how's it going? Yuri with you again today, and in today's video I'm going to bring up some really shocking news that has come out of TED Talks recently. You may have heard this news that TED, which is historically known as spreading good ideas or ideas worth sharing or something of that sort, has really kind of brought some really cool discussions and interesting insights to the forefront, in the scientific community and the inspirational side of things as well, and a bunch of other stuff in between. But apparently, recently, they have essentially said that anything that relates to a number of different categories within the perspective of natural healing and general health are considered pseudoscience and to be banned from any future TED Talks. And they've actually gone back and looked at existing TED Talks and are looking at taking some of them down that make any mention of a couple of the things that I'm going to share with you in this video. So this is really, it's shocking news, which kind of, calls to our awareness potentially that there is some big affiliations between TED and some bigger food companies like perhaps Monsanto, for instance. So I just want to share some of the stats here and some of the ideas. I'm just kind of reading from my iPhone. So first of all, any mention of food as potential medicine is considered pseudoscience. So apparently when Hippocrates once said, let food be thy medicine and medicine thy food, apparently that doesn't make sense anymore. So according to TED, that is considered pseudoscience and no talk will be allowed to include that kind of information. But it gets better. TED will no longer allow any discussions, any mention of genetically modified foods. So GMOs are off the table. No mention of them can be made at all, period, done. Okay, how about that? And I don't know if you've been following GMOs for a while, but they are essentially engineered foods which do not do our body good. And it's just amazing that TED is so close-minded to not even bring this information to the forefront. What else? Let's consider, so we talked about GMOs, we talked about kind of natural healing food as medicine. They're also not going to entertain any discussions about vaccines and their potential of causing health consequences. So for instance, the vaccination autism connection, that is again pseudoscience and what they consider dangerous to the population in terms of getting that potential message out to the population, because what it might do is cause some people to not get vaccinated, and as a result they might get sick. So anyways, it goes on and on and on. And I'm going to include a link below this video for the article or the letter that was written by TED to TEDx, which is kind of the smaller affiliates of the TED brand. Just some kind of my personal points of view on this. I find it absolutely appalling that an organization like TED is so close-minded and dogmatic to not even consider that there are alternatives that in a lot of cases are much more effective and safer than a lot of conventional medical recommendations and practices. And again, I'm done. Like, I'm done with TED. I'm not watching any more of their ridiculous talks because again, it's very one-sided. It's, they're saying that anything that is not fully backed by science is considered pseudoscience, which is stupid, right? Because so we only know what we know now, but that doesn't mean that there are other things that we can't explain that aren't true, right? I just find it really infuriating when we have these big governing bodies or these important kind of message carriers like TED that are so against the possible progression of alternative ideas, right? It's kind of like the church was way back in the Middle Age, where it was very, well, actually not even the church. Let's look at what was Copernicus, right? He was extradited for believing, or the first one to say, that the sun was the center of the solar system and not the earth, right? So historically before that, the church believed that the earth was the center of the universe and kind of everything revolved around us, right? Which is a very kind of human way of looking at things. Copernicus was literally extradited and shunted, put into a little cave, if you will, because he went against the establishment and said, hey, actually, based on my calculations, it seems like the sun is the center of the solar system. And as a result, he was ridiculed. He was, all of this stuff was basically invalidated. And that's the same thing that's happening with TED Talks right now, right? TED is invalidating anything that potentially is going against the medical establishment, and not even going against the medical establishment, but posing a potential alternative and getting people to question what they've been told to believe. Okay, that's the problem, is that it's not allowing people to question the dogmatic status quo. So I just find this really disgusting, sickening, appalling, and it's one of the reasons why we are not advancing anywhere with any of the big diseases. Look at the big diseases in North America, in the Western world. Heart disease, the #1 killer in the entire world across first world countries. Have we made any progress in heart disease in the last 50 years? No. Well, I guess all those medications are doing wonders, right? How about cancer? Have we made any progress with cancer in the last 50 years? Very, very little. We've made some progress in the terms of early detection and a little bit of prevention. But really, for the most part, when you look at digestive cancers, stomach, colorectal, esophageal, terrible outcomes for people developing those kind of cancers. We've made very little progress in some of the more deadly cancers. How about obesity and diabetes? Two of the easiest and most reversible conditions are now a plague. They're an epidemic that is spreading to China, as an example, because China is becoming more westernized. Obviously, what we are doing is not working, and for whatever reason, we are not able to present alternatives to bettering our health. And I find it's absolutely, if anyone from TED is watching this video, you guys are an absolute disgrace to spreading ideas, right, worth sharing. So anyways, I just wanted to get that off my chest. If you guys agree with me, let me know. Share your comments below this video. And if you're somebody from TED who has a problem with this, then by all means, you can take your stuff and go elsewhere. So anyways, thank you again for watching. Hopefully this is kind of boiled your blood as it has mine. And again, I'd love to hear your feedback below, because people need to know this information. So I'm done with TED. I'm not watching any more other talks. I think they're ridiculous anyways. And that's all from me today. We'll see you soon.